welcome back to the AA Baits YouTube channel. So exciting news, AA Baits have actually just launched a brand new pop-up and wafter mix. So we thought it'd be a really good idea to do some more how-to videos. I really enjoyed doing the how to roll your own boilies, so I thought we could do a little series of how to make your own hook bait. So we're obviously going to be focusing on the new pop-up and wafter mixes, but I thought we could play around with some different flavours, and also I've got a few dyes so we can play around and get some different colours too. To start off with, so today we're going to look at doing a Match the Hatch Wafter to the spicy TropaMegaMino, it's quite a mouthful, to the spicy TropaMegaMino boilies that we roll, and they are my go-to bait, so to have a sort of matching hook bait would be perfect. Like I said, today we're going to start with the Match the Hatch Wafter. So first things first, what do we actually need? So to make your standard mix, this is without any dye, all you would need is your wafter mix, you need some Basemix, we need an egg or two, depending on how many hook baits you're hoping to make. We need some bait preserve, weigh scales, we recommend getting to 2 decimal places, obviously you want to be really accurate with your measurements. Mixing bowl, I like to use a jug for my liquids. You need your sausage gun, and then obviously your rolling tray. I mean, hook baits you can actually roll by hand because you're not making kilos and kilos, so it's not the end of the world if you don't have a rolling tray. You need something to air dry out your hook baits, and obviously you will also need your pan to boil and sieve to drain. I think that's everything. So because today we're doing a Match the Hatch, I am actually going to include a few extra powders. So I'll just show you quickly. The first, so obviously like I said, I've been playing around with these to try and get the desired colour. Let me get you, So, like I said, we're doing a Match the Hatch. These are the boilies. I'm trying to get the desired colour, as we can see. Don't know how good I am there. So the first batch I did without any colouring, any extra flavour. So this is just purely the mix with the base mix. Turned out that sort of colour. So I did my first batch because we obviously want to make a slightly washed out version to the boilie because it's highly unlikely. I mean, you might be lucky that the fish are going to come across your hook bait within 5 minutes of being in the water. So we're trying to replicate sort of a washed out boilie. So that was with no colouring. This was my first attempt, so here's a boilie. So I don't think I was miles off. I just feel like it needed a bit more warmth. It's sort of just a little bit too washed out for me. Don't know if you can see the difference. It's hard to see against my hand. So this was my last test version. This is what we're going to try and replicate today. I don't know if you can tell. So obviously it's not perfect, but it's, you know, it's the sort of washed out desired version that we are after. So like I said, we're going to be adding a few little extra powders. So because of this, I'm just going to add a little bit more liquid egg to my mix. Don't worry too much if you don't take note of what measurements I use, because I am going to do, well, firstly, everything is on the data sheet on the website, so you can literally follow the instructions. It's dead easy. You can just have your laptop up in front of you. But I'm also going to do like a test batch essentially. I'm going to half all the ingredients that are listed on the site, and then I'm going to add a few extra little powders. Just have to substitute a little bit of liquid in there too to get the desired paste. So let's get cracking. So firstly, I'm going to prepare all my dry ingredients. So that is going to be a combination of the base mix and the wafter mix, and obviously the few little extra bits I've added in there just to get the desired colour. So the ratio we're working with, because I'm going to make 15mm hook baits, 15mm wafters, so we want sort of a 70-30% ratio. So your mix should be 70% wafter, 30% base mix. If you want slightly larger hook baits, 18mm, then you're looking for more 65-35 ratios. I'm going to crack on and get weighing out my dry ingredients. So like I said, I'm halving everything that's on the site. So it's 184 grams, but obviously I'm going to do 92, and with the 70-30 ratio, sorry, that works out at, my scales want to work, wafter mix, that's what I need. So I want 64.4 grams. Perfect. So 64.4 of the Wafter. Now I need to add 27.6 grams, obviously this is a bit heavier, of my Fishmeal Basemix. I also realised when I was doing what you need before, sorry that's probably what I missed out, you need flavouring. So if you're following the recipe on the website, you need 10 ml. Obviously I'm halving everything, so 5 ml. Like I said, I'm doing the fish meal, so anything fishy. I've used monster crab, I've used squid and octopus. This is where you can get really creative with it. So yeah, sorry, did forget to mention that before, but we'll talk you through the liquids in a second. I'm just gonna add the dry mix, the base mix. So perfect. Right, so I'll turn them before I forget. Just gonna give that a good mix.
To help get the desired colour, I then added 1 gram of turmeric, 8 grams of blood powder, 7 grams of krill meal and 2 grams of kingfisher red. To ensure all the dry ingredients are mixed thoroughly, I like to add them to a resealable bag and give them a real good shake. I also find this is a much easier way of introducing the dry mix to the liquids in the bowl. The next step is to mix all your liquids together, so this will be your liquid egg or water, your bait preserve and your flavourings. I always start with the egg. I found that the perfect amount for this recipe was actually 1 large egg, which works out around 50 to 55 grams. I just had to add that extra bit of liquids because the blood powder and the krill meal that we included absorb a lot of moisture. Next, I added 10 grams of bait preserve and 5 ml of flavouring. On this occasion, I opted for 3 ml of monster crab and 2 ml of Scopex. But as I mentioned previously, this is where you can get really creative. Give those liquids a really good mix together and then transfer to a mixing bowl where we will then start to introduce the dry ingredients. Rather than adding all of the dry mix at once, I like to add it gradually. It just gives me much more control over the consistency. Eggs can vary in size, so I find by building the paste gradually, I can stop as soon as it feels right. I just find it so much easier to add a little more dry mix than it is to try and rescue a paste that's become too dry. You are basically aiming for a smooth, non-sticky paste that rolls easily without cracking. Next, I just lightly coat my gloves with approximately 0.5 ml of oil. I think on this occasion I chose salmon oil. And then I'm just going to knead the mix for 2 to 3 minutes until a smooth dough is formed. Then place the dough into a sealed bag and leave it to rest for 15 minutes to allow full absorption. After resting, I always like to give the dough another good knead. This just helps to distribute the moisture evenly and it leaves you with a smooth, consistent paste that's much easier to roll. Next, you're going to roll the paste into a sausage by hand and load it into your extruder. If you are using a new nozzle or rolling table for the first time, I'd always test just using a full length sausage before making any adjustments. A full sausage can expand slightly differently during extrusion, so it's the best way to just check you're producing the correct diameter for your rolling table. Once you're happy with the size, just apply a steady, even pressure throughout the bait gun to keep everything consistent and produce uniform wafters. Repeat the process until you've rolled all your hook baits and then transfer them to a tray. I found flour is unnecessary with this mix, but if sticking does occur, you can lightly dust the tray and then remove any excess before use. Next, you're going to bring a pan of water to the boil and then just reduce it slightly to around 98 degrees Celsius. While the mix will withstand a full rolling boil, AA Baits recommend boiling just at a slightly lower temperature will give the best results. You're then going to gently add the wafters to the pan. You'll notice they'll sink to the bottom at first and then gradually begin to rise to the surface as they cook. That's completely normal and a good sign that everything is progressing as it should. Boiling time will depend on the size of your hook bait, so AA Baits recommend for 12 ml you want to boil for 60 seconds. For 15mm wafters you want to be boiling between sort of 1.5 and 2 minutes, and for even larger 18mm hook baits anywhere between sort of 2 and 2.5 minutes is perfect. Once boiled, you then want to remove your hook baits and place them straight onto an air drying tray. You want to air dry your hook baits for a minimum of 24 hours before storing. Do allow longer during colder and more humid conditions. The lower the remaining moisture content, the greater the resistance to mould.
Well, here we are 48 hours later and they are looking really good. They're smelling good. They feel nice and firm. So yeah, let's compare them to our boilie. So like I said, the aim of the Wafter was to create a washed out Match the Hatch version. And I actually think we've done a pretty good job. Oh, they smell really good as well. They're good. I'm really pleased with how they turned out. So obviously, what I do like to do as well before, I can't figure out which one's which, using the hook baits, I obviously like to test them in water just to check the buoyancy, check that I'm happy with everything. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to pop one of the Wafters on my rig. So I've just got multi-combi. This is what I like to fish with. So obviously I want to test what I'm going to be fishing with. So I'll just pop this on now. So this is a size 4 quarter crank hook. Again, there's so many things to take into consideration. Obviously everyone does like different buoyancies. Some people like the hook to sit perfectly flat on the floor. Some people like the hook to sit up slightly. So these are all factors to consider when trying at home. The size of the hook, what rig you'll be using. You just want to imitate whatever you're going to be doing on the bank. Like I said, these have been drying now for 48 hours. You want your hook baits a little bit firmer than your boilies. You know, they want to be able to withstand a long time in the water. They want to be able to withstand a few casts if needed. A minimum of 24 hours is required. Obviously this can vary depending on the time of the year. Obviously it's summer now, we've had some gorgeous weather. So I think they've actually dried a lot quite quick. Whereas obviously in the winter months, when it's a bit colder, they might need a little longer to air dry. So there we have it. Our very own homemade Wafter. So I'm going to see how it sits now in the water.
For me personally, the perfect presentation is for the hook to lie flat on the bottom whilst the Wafter sits just above, which it is doing here. That's just the balance I have the most confidence in. Of course, buoyancy is very much down to personal preference. Some anglers prefer a little more lift, while others do prefer a heavier balance, so do not be afraid to fine tune it to suit your own rig and the way you like to fish.
Now the final step is to go and test them on the bank, which is what I'm just about to go and do now. So I'll bag these up and let's see if they can catch me a carp. Now I'm just going to show you really quickly how many hook baits you get. So remember, I only did a half batch. So if you're making and following the instructions on the website, you'll get double the amount of this. But even still, for hook baits, they'd easily fill 2 pots. So yeah, really good value. And obviously don't forget at this point you can also enhance your hook bait. So you can use a hook bait enhancer spray. You can add a little bit of liquid or blood, whatever you fancy. I mean, these smell great. I'm not going to add anything else to these. So yeah, look how much you get. Perfect. So like I said, I'm off to go and try and see if I can nick a bite in just a few hours. I'm going to do another video. I think my next one, I'm going to do a how to make your own pop-up, and I'm going to have a go with some dyes too. I want to do a yellow, pineapple and embuteric pop-up, so keep your eyes peeled. That'll be coming very shortly. But yeah, for now, thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.
Well, sooner than you thought, because the wafters performed better than I could have ever imagined.
Well, here's your proof that the wafters work. Like I said, we only had a few hours. The rods have been out about 20 minutes, half an hour at a push. And Tom has just landed this mega £29 common on the wafters. So I'll give you a little sneak peek. I can't take credit, he landed it, but it was my hook bait. What a fish. I can't believe it. I'm so happy for him. And happy for me because the bait works.